Do you know your words can speak life or death? My guest says we can learn to love on ourselves and celebrate others through positivity on today's episode of Coffee with Tea. Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of Coffee with Tea. I'm your host, Tonia Tyler, and I'm excited because we're going to be talking to Miss Linda P. Thompson. She is an author, speaker, and a certified life coach, and she's going to bring the message of positivity. So, without further ado, I'd like to bring on Miss Linda P. Thompson. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here and welcome to everyone who's listening. Feel free to ask a question if you're able to. But the what I would like to talk about today is I'm an author of two books. And one of my books is Jealousy or Envy, Is There a Killer in You? Stop the War Within and Be Set Free. And that's talking about the emotions on the inside, jealousy, competition, those kind of things. And holding on to words that may have been spoken over us when we were a child. So, and the killer in you is not like a killer, a murderer killer with guns or weapon. The killer is using our words or jealousy and envy. Those are two big killers. And I in my book, I call them cousins because they're so closely related. The second book that I'm going to speak on today is Speak Positively and Expect the Victory, Words of Wisdom. And both of these books are reference books. You don't have to read them in no order. And they are faith-based because I am faith. I like a lot of scriptures, encouraging words, and things like that. So, but what I want to talk about is how words are powerful. We create things with our mouth. And first of all, words start within our mind first. We start thinking on things, and sooner or later, we're going to act those things out. So let's speak positive things over our lives. And I wonder, has anyone ever said anything, any negative words to anyone, or has anyone ever um, had someone say negative words to you?
Oh, of course, of course. And sometimes the biggest thing is just the negative words I say to myself.
Yes, yes, yes. And when we have those words, how did that make us, whether we spoke them or somebody spoke to us, how did that make us feel?
Makes you well, it depends on what they're saying, but it can make you angry, can make you frustrated, make you doubt yourself.
Yes, and a lot of time we want to fight back, but we can't fight back the same way that some people on purpose say negative things to us, and we know that. But we shouldn't do the same things. Have you ever heard someone say, if you can't say anything nice about anybody, don't say anything, or you can't speak positive to someone, don't say anything?
Oh yeah, my dad used to say that to me all the time.
I know my parents did too, and that is so true. That is so true. And what I learned, Tony, a lot of times we don't, all those words come to our head. We don't have to say everything that we think, especially if it's going to harm someone. And like I said in my book, we have the right to say or speak anything that we want to speak, but we need to speak positive words. Words that will bring life to people, words that will make people feel good. Not saying not tell the truth to anyone because we want to be open and honest. And if I need to let you know something about you or you need to let me know something about me, there's a way to do it in a constructive way. So we need to be really careful with that. And I also said that words that are positive have a healing effect and it's comforting. Those feel good words. And I'm big on, and I would say to those listening to this, I'm big on morning affirmations. When the morning come, wake up and, give thanks, number one, for waking us up. And number two, just say what I will get through this day, the Lord, or I will get through this day with no challenges, or the challenges, I will be able to handle them. We have to learn to speak positive and speak good things over our life. Because I said life is full of a lot of unexpected hurts, disappointments, and pain. However, we need to learn how to cope with those things, strategize our emotions too. We have to, another number one thing to do is we need to always acknowledge our feelings. you
No,
know.
no. Now, now you touch on something, and that's another thing. And I'm hearing a lot of people say, they say, "Well, tell me how you feel," but it always goes back to what I think. It's like, how do you get people to express how they feel? How has that been for you?
Well, a lot of times, if it's one-on-one, or a lot of times we have to just put up front to people, it's okay to be you. I'm not going to be judgmental. And if you trust me with your thoughts, then, that's good. But we have to sometimes, we have to set boundaries, but yet we have to let people know that it's okay. And sometimes you can tell, someone that you're not feeling good and that, oh, you ain't got nothing to worry about. There's no reason for you to be depressed. But I say acknowledge your feelings, because if I said I'm sad today, don't tell me you're not sad today, because that's not reality. Let me acknowledge that. And then from within, I would dig deep and say, okay, I'm sad this moment because of XYZ, but I got to get out of this funk. I can't stay here. Because I also say in my book, it's okay to not be okay. But we live in a society where, due to commercials and this and that, we have to always feel like we have to be perfect. Well, we
Hmm.
don't. What you think, Tony, right?
Oh yeah, it's like a lot of the times it's like we put on a mask to be able to cope, but we're really not addressing the true feelings within ourselves. So I think you're really on a really deep subject that a lot of people don't want to address. They're afraid to address it.
Right, because of being judged. And that's the other thing. Number two, be non-judgmental when someone is pouring their heart out to you, because they have to have some kind of trust to even come to you in the first place. But words are powerful. Words do hurt. And like I said before, words can bring life or death to a situation, because even if we don't address it, an emotion of anger, bitterness, or whatever, even if we don't address it, it's still there. It doesn't just go. I told somebody the other week, it doesn't just go away because you don't mention it.
That's not the truth. Cause it's like we talk about emotions, but I mean you can apply it towards anything. It's like, example I always say, it's like if you know you got a bill to pay and you keep putting that bill off to the side, the bill doesn't go away. It's still there. So
And going there,
if you don't acknowledge the bill, that could bring out more problems. So like I said, it's a lot. You can apply that towards emotions too.
that's true, because if you don't deal with it, by not paying that bill is going to bring on stress, frustration, fear. They're going to come get my house, my car. Oh, I walk in, my lights are turned off, so acknowledgement is just not being in denial. That's a biggie. And another thing, there's a scripture that says, Proverbs 4:23, keep thy heart with all diligence, because for out of it comes the issues of life. The things that we really feel is in our heart. Have you ever heard someone say, oh, I didn't mean to say that? More than likely you did, because it was in your heart and it came out.
I know, I know that. I get that a lot. I was like, well, I didn't really mean. Oh, yeah, you were. But you know what, Miss Linda, this is what
Yes,
I want to say. I understand that, and then being aware of your thoughts is like you don't hold you have. I should say you don't have to. You have the ability not to hold judgment against them, because I always realize people do what they're at that level of where they're at. You know what I'm saying?
right.
If they knew better, they would do better. Maybe perhaps they wouldn't say that, or maybe
True.
that's really what's on their heart. So it's like, you know, being I always like the people have been saying, have some grace. Have
Mhm.
grace. Grace with yourself and grace with others. And so
Right.
is that part of what being a positive, because you're being a positive with other people and with yourself.
That's true. That's true. But some people don't have that barrier, or that breaks, when a thought come to mind, I'm gonna say it. And then, a lot of the other thing that I tell a lot of people is, once those words get out there, we can't grab them back. They're already in the atmosphere. you know so that's why I say, cancel out words. We can't say, oh, I didn't mean to say that, but oh, I take that back. Used to be, we would say, I take that back. So now I know why people say I take that back, because if we say I'm broke all the time, or I'm whatever, I'm depressed, we're going to stay in that state. So we have to cancel out those negative things that come up. And another thing is to hold on to your positivity. If you are a positive person, and when someone negative come around you, and a lot of people, some people are in toxic relationships. So you have to really, we really have to work harder with that, make those affirmations, because people can make you really feel a lot. In my first book, Jealousy or Envy, I talked about how when someone say bad things about you, it's going to affect your character, it's going to affect your self-esteem. And if you, especially someone in an abusive case, if you hear it a lot, you're going to start believing it, you know
Hmm.
if that's all you hear. Because I mentioned in Jealousy or Envy, is there a killer in you? A lot of times growing up as children, parents, they don't mean it, but some do mean it. But they say mean things, like you're not smart enough, you don't look the part, you'll never be anything. I'm like, God, how can you tell somebody they'll never be anything? But if you hear it all the time, you're gonna act out what that person say. And then when your child is not doing as well as they should, you can think back to those words. What I did say, you'll never mount to anything. That's what older people used to say.
Well, before we go into a little bit more, because I got a couple of questions, like how do we, break this cycle? But before I ask you that and we dive deeper into that, I want to remind everybody who's tuning in that please, if you're enjoying what Miss Linda is dropping and you're picking up the golden nuggets, please give us a thumbs up, hit that like button, and let us know what you're thinking. Maybe drop some comments down below. But I really want to dive into, like, Miss Linda, I know you talk about your book and stuff like that, but how do we, like, learn to break that cycle? If you're knowing that you want to change that negativity that's in your heart, because I mean, people start to get tired of just being around that negative because it's so heavy. How do you learn to break
I'm glad you asked.
that?
The way that we have to do that, we have to really, when you get tired of the toxic relationships and those negative words and things like that, the number one thing we have to do is make a decision. Mhm. I'm not gonna hear this. I'm gonna separate myself. I'm gonna do whatever I need to do to get away from that, because people come in our lives for different reasons, some for a season, some to stay, and some for a connection. But if someone is making you not feel well, you really have to make a decision. I'm better than this, you
Mm.
know, or this friend, because I like to ask the question, once with everyone we come in contact with, how did that person make you feel when you left?
Oh, I love that. I love that. I always call it, like, this is, I think is, I call it residue. What kind of residue do people leave on you?
Right,
And I was, it's like, could it be one of those positive residues, or
or
you see them, you're like, oh my goodness, when you see somebody, like, oh geez, or you're one of those people like, oh, I've been looking for you. It's like you can pick up on the vibes right where
that's true.
there.
That's true. Because I know it's happened to me before, and I'm like, damn, I was feeling okay. What happened? And I have to trace back. What did I do? Was I around? And then you can kind of narrow it down, like that. But everything starts with a decision. And until we make that decision, we can't do anything. And once we made that decision, that's when we acknowledge this person is not adding to my life. This person is taken away from my life. And it might be hard because it could be a very, very, very close friend, somebody you know forever, or it could be even a family member. Sometimes you might don't need to go around a family member if they're not saying positive things. So anybody, you just have to make a decision and just work hard. You will feel that loss, but it might be beneficial.
Right, right. Now I have a question, because and this is something I have a little spiritual base as well, and I can hear the faith base in your world. Do you believe that sometimes if you trust that the universe or God, or however you want to call, will move people out of your way for you to grow?
Yes, yes, and yes. I do. I feel that way, and I know that way is true. And it might be for a short period of time, but some people, let me see, how does it? Everybody can't go where you're going, and everybody doesn't understand the vision and plan for your life. So therefore, that could be a hindrance. And those people you might have to separate for a short period of time, and then you come back and say, I'm back. I did whatever, the plan for my life is unfolding now. Because your dreams and things can't, there are such things that people who are destiny killers because they're not encouraging. Oh, it's just certain people do that, or what make you think you can do that? Things like that.
So when you pick up on those things, it's like, is that like I mean, you know, I guess those are red flags that maybe.
Red, yes, yes, yes.
So how do you handle that? Like it said, that resistance when you say, you know what, I'm going to work on this goal, and you still coming up against that negative wall, I guess you could say. How do you prepare for that? How do you say, you know what? Is it something whether you just says, you go, or how do you feel that this is the right path for you? How do you know that?
I think we when as women, we have that gut feeling, and we know when we get that go ahead to go ahead and do whatever goal or whatever your dream may be. And like I said, it might be painful to let go, but most of the time we have to. Most of the time we have to let go, and just like I said, make up in your mind and keep the reason why you want to pursue whatever and even the reason why you want to be happy. Do you want to be happy or more joyful because being around certain people is making you sick? Because stress hurts. People don't know that stress makes your joints ache. Stress gives you headaches. So being in certain environments, it can make you sick, literally make you sick. And so we have to choose, would I rather just keep feeling bad, or do I want to be made whole? Because a lot of my messages are on positivity and being made whole, not in just one area, but every area, in the emotions, in the physical, the spiritual, the financial part, the whole works.
Right. I know we're down to a few more minutes, and I really want to touch on a couple of things. It's like, I know you talked about the positivity, but what's the overall, if anybody tuned in and there's nothing else that they heard from this, what's the one message you want people to hear from this message, no matter what?
No matter what, I want everyone to know it's okay to make the decisions that might be painful. It's okay. It's for your best. The second thing is it's okay to not be okay. We talked about having a mask on. Take that mask off, acknowledge the things, and just it's okay to not be okay, but just don't stay there. Do something to change. Do welcome transformation and newness. A lot of times is what's the word for it? You don't. It's hard to accept a new change, and that's why I like doing things 21 days. In 21 days you may, and I've had a 21-day positivity, not nothing negative come out of my mouth. So we just have to find what works for us. But I would just say, no, that not being okay is okay. Just don't stay there.
Right, right. And Miss Linda, where can people find more information about you, your services, and what you do?
Okay, my website is www.lindathompsonspeaker.com. And there I have an email list. And if you like a session, or just contact me on my website. There is a contact page. There is a session page. And I am on LinkedIn and Facebook as well. And I'm not as active on Instagram and YouTube yet, but I plan to do those things. Yes, so they can reach out with me that way. And I do workshops and trainings and speaking and all that. But I just want people to learn to love on themselves, take care of themselves, and celebrate others. Wherever you're trying to get, it's not a fast race. We will get there, one step at a time.
I love it. I love it. And I want to also extend the invite for you to come back, and we can go into a deeper dive. If you'd like to come back, you're always welcome to come back.
That'll be good. That'll be good. Maybe I can come back around the time, February 23rd, 24th. The collaborative book that will be launching in February with Women's Speaker Association. I'm a co-author in a chapter of that book.
Well, congratulations on that too, as well.
Thank you.
And I also want to remind everybody who tuned in that feedback is always welcome. Email us if you have any guest and show ideas that you'd like to see. Links are posted in the comments, so please make sure you check out what I have down there, because we've got a lot of gems down there in the description box. And again, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, give us a thumbs up. And if you enjoyed all the wisdom that everyone is sharing, including Linda's here, please consider hitting that like button over there. And remember, take things in stride, go with the flow, and create your own path. And we'll see you back here on another episode of Coffee with Tea. So bye-bye for now.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Share with us. What was one of your takeaways from today's show? Post your answers in the comments.